Hi, second graders. Say we're back. I'm back, I should say, reading The Magic Trap. So we're going to continue on with our chapter read aloud. I know how you've loved the Lemonade War series. So this is the last book. So I know you're thinking, like I'm thinking, what's going to happen to Jesse and Evan? Is Evan going to be able to do his magic show? Who's going to come? Is Jesse going to be his assistant? So be thinking of questions as I read the story. I hope you enjoyed when I read it the other day to you. So I'll continue where I left off. So here we go on the magic trap. Not good enough, said Evan. I need to make something disappear. That's what makes the great magicians great. Like David Copperfield, he made the Statue of Liberty disappear. He did not. He did too. I saw it on Hulu. It was a trick, but no one knows for sure how he did it. Jessie watched as her brother pulled a quarter out of his pants pocket and started slipping it across his knuckles on his hand. The coin looked like it was dancing across his fingers. These days Evan always carried a quarter with him so he could practice any time. With his other hand he pointed at the bottom page of the book. So that rabbit box, it doesn't say how to make it. Jessie shook her head and handed the book back to Evan. It's too complicated, and it's made out of metal. I know, said Evan, sitting down on her bed. I was just thinking maybe I could make it out of wood, though, instead of metal. I thought maybe Pete could help me. Remember, Pete was the construction person that helped build Grandma's house back up after her fire? You know, he's got a table and everything. Pete was the carpenter who I said who had fixed Grandma's house. Pete's 5 hours away, said Jessie. How is he going to help build something? I don't know, said Evan, staring at the diagrams. I thought maybe I could mail him the drawings and he could cut the pieces and then mail it back to me. Can't you just buy a rabbit box? Asked Jessie. That costs too much, said Evan. Hundreds of dollars. I checked online. Jessie knew Evan didn't have that kind of money. He probably didn't even have $1. Professor Hoffman doesn't do a very good job of explaining things, she said. Does he give directions for anything else? What's that? Jessie pointed to the book as Evan flipped the pages. That's a sphinx. Right here. It's probably the most famous illusion of all time. You've got this little table with these skinny legs. And then the magician comes on stage and puts a box on top of the table. And when he opens the front of the box, there's this live head inside. And the head starts talking to the audience and answers questions. Then the magician closes the box, and when he opens it again, there's nothing but a pile of dust where the head was. How does he do that? Jessie thought about this floating head, and it kind of looked creepy. But if people would pay a lot of money to see it. Mirrors, said Evan, turning to the next page. See? Jessie looked at the illusion, explaining the trick. The audience thinks that they're looking straight through the legs of the table to the curtain in the back, said Evan. But really, they're looking at a reflection of the curtains in a mirror. So there's just a man hidden inside the mirrors with his head sticking up through the table. We could do that, said Jessie. We have a table with 3 legs, the one that's in the front hall. Mom's not going to let us cut a hole in her table, said Evan. And besides, where would we get these mirrors? They have to be big. Not that big, said Jessie. She was starting to get excited. An idea was forming in her head. The table is small and the mirrors can be small because I'm small and I'll be the Sphinx. You? Said Evan. Yeah, right. I'd like to see that. You talk too much. You said that the head talks to the audience, said Jessie. She couldn't see why Evan didn't like her idea. Yeah, but it's kind of mysterious kind of talking, not the way you talk. I can be mysterious, said Jessie. She could practice. Nah, Jess, said Evan, closing the book. It just wouldn't work. You have to be really, he stopped to think for a minute, quick and quiet and smooth to be a magician's assistant. Jessie crossed her arms. It wasn't fair. She wanted to help. You know what you could do, though? Asked Evan. You could borrow me $20. Jessie stiffened up. That was not the kind of help she wanted to give. What do you need $20 for? $20 is a lot of money. Rabbits don't grow on trees, said Evan, and they don't eat trees either. You're going to buy a rabbit? Jessie nearly shouted. Shh, said Evan, pointing towards her mother's open bedroom door. Cripes, Jessie, you see what I mean? Mom is not going to let you buy a rabbit. And suddenly Jessie remembered that she was mad at Evan. It was his fault their mom was leaving. I don't think we know where Mom's going yet. I bet we'll have to keep reading to find out why she's packing her bag and where is she going. Maybe I could talk her into it, he said. It's worth a try. You can't make a rabbit disappear unless you have a rabbit to begin with. That's what Professor Hoffman says. Yeah, well, Professor Hoffman doesn't know Mom, said Jessie. She heard a car pull up outside and then a car door open and slam shut. Jessie thought this was weird since Peggy wasn't supposed to arrive for another 2 hours. Peggy was Mom's best friend from when she was in elementary school, and she was the one who was going to stay with them for the week that Mom was going to be gone, abandoning them. That's what Mom was doing. But if she says yes, will you lend me $20? No, said Jessie, moving to the window and looking out at the driveway. All she saw was a taxi cab driving down the street. I'll pay interest, said Evan. Jessie's ears perked up. How much? I don't know, said Evan. 5%, said Jessie, per month? Is that a lot? Depends, said Jessie, shrugging. 5% per month was kind of a lot of interest, especially since the bank these days was paying 0 interest. But a bank wasn't going to lend $20 to Evan. The doorbell rang. Hey, Evan, shouted Mrs. Tresky, can you answer the door? Okay, Evan called back, stuffing the quarter in his pocket. But then he turned to Jessie and said, you do it. I have to find a rabbit box I can build. I don't want to answer the door, said Jessie. Mom asked you to do it. She thought of her lockbox, unprotected, hidden under her pillow. No rabbit box, no rabbit. No rabbit, no loan. No loan, no interest for you. He walked out of her room and into the hall, flipped the lock sign on his bedroom door, and closed the door behind him. Jessie quickly hid the lockbox and the key in her hiding place, and then hurried down the stairs, calling out, okay, fine, over her shoulder. 5% interest on $20 would earn her a whole dollar in just 1 month. Maybe she could lend money to other people, too. Maybe Megan would borrow from her. Maybe her friend Maxwell. Maybe even her mom would borrow from her. Money was always tight in the Tresky house. She got to the front door just as the doorbell rang a second time. If it was Peggy, Jessie was going to be stiff and a little unfriendly. She knew how to do this. She had practiced in her room yesterday. She would cross her arms and frown and march out the room without even saying hello. Then Peggy would know and tell her mother how upset she was. Jessie liked Peggy all right. She just didn't like it that her mom was going away. It was the last week of May, but it already felt like the dead of summer. All in all, it had been a strange year weather-wise. The winter had been so mild and spring had come so early that everyone said that this winter had never happened. Mrs. Tresky had been shaking her head and worrying even more than usual about global warming. And now at the end of May, the air was hot and humid. The windows in the front room were wide open. As Jessie walked by, a breeze lifted the curtains and let them fall again, as if the window were sighing with pleasure. Jessie could hear a basketball bouncing in the distance and kids shouting. Maybe the person at the door was someone from the neighborhood coming over to ask Evan to play. Maybe it was the mailman with a special package for her. The Tresky's front door always stuck in the summertime. Jessie gave it a good yank, but the door wouldn't budge. She grabbed that doorknob with both hands and she pulled again with all of her might. And with a loud screech, the door flew open. And Jessie screamed when she saw who was standing at the front door. And you know I love stopping at a suspenseful part, so do you think it's Peggy and that's why she screamed? Who could it be that Jessie is screaming for?